Hi guys, thank you for checking out my channel. This tutorial will review coding transactions in QuickBooks Online. It is one part of a 3-tutorial system which reviews how to perform a reconciliation and also how to set up your chart of accounts. These videos are also available to you as a resource if you should need them. So now let's go ahead and dive into the QuickBooks transaction coding. So as you can see, my screen is already on the QuickBooks transaction coding screen inside of QuickBooks Online. Now, right here we have a left-hand menu, so banking, selecting banking again, and these menus will vary slightly depending on the version of QuickBooks that you're using. It might say transactions here instead of banking, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So, on our screen we see that we have 3 different accounts. We have our checking account, we have our savings account, we have our MasterCard. Now these accounts are automatically connected to our QuickBooks file. So what that means is it's going to make things a lot easier and a lot smoother for us to go through and do the transaction coding. So our transactions are automatically going to upload from our bank account. Okay? So that means we don't have to go in, we don't have to go into our bank account and export the data into QuickBooks. It's all right here and it's coming. This one says updated moments ago. They all say updated moments ago. Sometimes there's a 24-hour delay. So this is the method that I prefer and that I recommend. Let's click on the first transaction down here below. Okay, these are all waiting to be accepted. So Books by Bessie. Okay, that's our description, that's our bank detail. Let's see what happened with Books by Bessie. So we received $55. All right, now we've used Books by Bessie before. We've used them as a vendor or a customer prior. So their name already is coming up in our contact list. Okay, that's great. We don't need to add them. So category. Now this can get tricky for some people. It's not tricky though. These categories come over directly from the chart of accounts. So I also have a tutorial on the chart of accounts. So please review that one if you need a little bit of a refresher. But it's important to set these accounts up correctly. So that way when you go into the transaction coding, you have the correct accounts to select from. And then the next step, which would be a little bit more advanced bookkeeping, is when you prepare your profit and loss statement and you're reviewing your income, you're reviewing your expenses, those items are going to be broken down with these categories as well. So it really is important to choose categories that mean something to you and are helpful in your review in terms of your business. So let's look at our income accounts here. We have billable expense income, design income, discounts given, fees billed, landscape services. And look at how landscaping is broken down even further. These are subheadings. So we have job materials. And then job materials is broken down to even another level. Decks and patios, fountains and garden lighting, plants and soil. So this is really, really helpful. If you want to see where your money is coming from, where your income is being and your revenue is being generated. Hey, maybe we're making a ton of money on decks and patios and not much on plants and soil. Or maybe we're making a ton of money on fountains and garden lighting, but not much on sprinklers and drip systems. So this can be really helpful when you're determining maybe which lines of business to continue, which to invest in, which to advertise. You know, you want to make this information very useful for you. So I am going to click on design income. I'm going to click on fees billed. Okay, we have a memo box here. We can enter in, I like to enter invoice numbers, any helpful information. If I'm going to go back in the future and review this transaction, what will be helpful to me to know? I can add an attachment here. If I have a sales receipt, if I have an invoice, I can go ahead and add it. I can create a rule, which basically means that when this transaction, Books by Bessie, if I wanted to put in the criteria, Books by Bessie deposits of a certain dollar amount, I can choose the criteria I want, but basically it creates a rule so that it's more of an automated process and that so that it goes faster. They can be automatically uploaded to QuickBooks without going through this screen, or we can simply just have this category automatically appear when a transaction that is similar occurs in the future. We can exclude the transaction. Now, we do not exclude transactions often, okay? The reason being is these are official books, right? So we want our bank statement, which is going to have all of these transactions, to match the information in our QuickBooks. So if we exclude, then we're going to have missing transactions. There is a categorization history, which is very self-explanatory, and that's actually a new feature in QuickBooks. And that's one thing I love about QuickBooks. They're always innovating and updating their technology to make it even more helpful and user-friendly. So I can go ahead and hit Add here, and our transaction will go into QuickBooks Memory Banks, and I can go on to the next transaction. Okay, now we have another deposit. Okay, I have money under the received column, and this customer's name is A1 Rental. So I'm going to start typing in A1. So they are not listed inside of QuickBooks. They're not in our contact list. So I'm going to go ahead and create them. Add A1 Rental. Okay, they're our customer. They're giving us money. I can enter in details here if I want to. This is where I would also enter in like their tax ID number and their address information if it was a vendor and I wanted to send out a 1099 at the end of the year. So I'm going to go ahead. Do that again. It didn't save. So A1 Rental, save. All right, so they gave us a backhoe deposit refund. So right here I can start typing in refund, refunds and allowances. Excellent. Okay, that is selected. I'm going to go ahead and hit add. Okay, let's go down to something a little bit different. So here on April 6th, I have a deposit of $868.15. Now, there's no bank detail information available. See, it says no description available from Example Bank USA. I have this new option. I can match this transaction. What that means is that the existing transaction is already in QuickBooks. So QuickBooks is saying, hey, match me. Don't go in and add me because then I'll be in the system twice. So in this example, someone has already created a deposit directly in QuickBooks into the checking account on April 6th, and it consisted of different payments from the selected clients. See here, received from. So that is excellent. I'm going to go ahead and X out of here. So I'm going to go ahead and match. Yes, I agree. This is the same transaction. We can go down, Hicks Hardware. Again, we found a match. This was check number 75, written on April 6th in the amount of $228.75. Yes, I wrote that check out of my QuickBooks, so it is already in here. I'm going to go ahead and match. Okay, so you get the easiness of going through the transaction coding. Now, if you get to a transaction that you do not know how to code, I recommend there's usually a box under the transaction categories called Ask My Accountant or Suspense. I would throw it in there, okay, because you want to wait until you can get help from your bookkeeper, your accountant, your CPA. You don't just want to go ahead and put a transaction somewhere that it does not belong, okay? Next, I am in the savings account. There's only one transaction in here to code. That'll be easy. So I'm going to click on the line, scroll down just a bit. Okay, I have a deposit on April 6th of $200. Perfect. I already put that deposit into QuickBooks. So I'm going to go ahead and match. Exceptional. Now, if you see here, we have a difference in the dollar amounts. I'm showing $200, which is being read electronically from my bank account. And I'm showing a balance of $800 in QuickBooks. So we have a $600 discrepancy. Now, when you try to go in and reconcile this account, that $600 could unveil itself at that point. Or, and what happens oftentimes, is that there's just a delay with the transactions uploading. So remember, I did say sometimes it takes roughly 24 hours but you want to keep an eye on it to make sure, because these numbers should be the same after all the transactions have been accepted. So I'm going to click over into the MasterCard now, and let's look. Our first transaction, we got some money, Amazon software. So this, to me, sounds like a refund from Amazon. So I'm going to start typing Amazon here in the box. We have not done business with them before. They are not in our existing contact list. So I'm going to add them. And I can choose if they're going to be a customer, a vendor, or an employee. Now, most likely, most of the time, we're going to spend money with Amazon, most likely. So I'm going to click vendor, okay, because most likely we're paying Amazon usually. In this case, it looks like they're giving us maybe a refund. So I'm going to click on refunds and allowances. Now look at this box here, customer project. What this means is that, let's say that software purchase was for my Cool Cars project. Okay, and now I'm getting a refund, so I want to code that to the Cool Cars project as well. That way, if I run a profit and loss statement by project or by customer, then these transactions will appear together, which is very, very helpful. So again, I can enter in a memo, I can add an attachment, create a rule, exclude, categorization history. I'm going to hit add. Layers lamination. Now on this one, I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. Let's start typing it in. Oh, so this person is not already in our contact list. So I'm going to add her. And we spent money. We spent $150. So let's look in our expense categories. What did we do? Let's say this is stationery and printing. I like that. Okay, so again, I can enter in a memo here. If I find it helpful, I will go ahead and place add. Now, one last thing that I'd like to show you guys. I'm going to go back to the checking account, and I'm going to go to this deposit here on April 5th. It's a deposit in the amount of $408. Now, if I didn't want to match it, okay, let's say QuickBooks was trying to match it, but it's not the right deposit that it's trying to match it to, I can go ahead and just change the category. Change it from Find Match and click Categorize, and then this box will open for me, and I can go ahead and type it in. Whatever the vendor or customer name is, no description is available from the bank, unfortunately. I can go ahead and type in what I want for my income category. Let's call it fees billed. And hopefully I remember something about this transaction, since it wasn't the one that we wanted to match to. But I would enter that information into the memo field. So I hope that you guys have found this tutorial to be helpful and informative. Please hit the like button and subscribe so that you do not miss any of our upcoming tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.